Peace, family. Say her name, Nia Wilson. Say her name, Michonne Cooper. Say her name, Sandra Bland. Say her name, Rakaya Boyd. Say her name, Brandy Odom. Say her name, Carice Lewis. Say her name, Shalia Toombs. Say her name, Marlene Pinnock. Say her name, Gabriela Navarez. Say her name, Aurora Rosser. Say her name, Michelle Cusseau. Say her name, Tanisha Anderson. Say her name, Kiarika Diggles. Say her name, Dejaria Becton. Say her name, Alexia Christian. Say her name, Megan Hockaday. Say her name, Maya Hall. Say her name, Janisha Fonville. Say her name, Natasha McKenna. Say her name, Eleanor Bumpers. Say her name, Taisha Miller. Say her name, Latanya Haggerty. Say her name, Margaret Mitchell. Say her name, Kayla Moore. Say her name, Tarika Wilson. Say her name, Susie Jackson. Say her name, Christina Ricketts. Say her name, Andrea Foy. Say her name, Gwendolyn Stinson. Say her name, Karen Prater. Say her name, Daryela Hargett. Say her name, Desiree Etheridge. Say her name, Darlene Rogers. Say her name, Louise Nesbitt. Say her name, Valgret Holliday. Say her name, Sandra Bulware. Say her name, Bobby Jean Graham. Why are we saying the names of these black women? Because all of the black women that I called out to you have been killed either through police brutality or white supremacy. Last week we had 2 African-American black women who died as a result of white supremacy, and that was Nia Wilson, who was brutally and randomly stabbed and killed to death, and her sister was also stabbed. And then we had Michonne Cooper, who was also killed by a known white supremacist. But the names that I say on today are just very few, very minimal names that we have heard in the news media. But I can bear witness that are thousands and thousands of black women who have been brutalized, who have been killed, who have been victimized, either through police brutality, either through white supremacy, or unfortunately through the hands of their own race. But what is happening is that we are finding that more and more of our black women are becoming invisible. Now, yes, during this climate, we see that social media has been publicizing a new racial uprising that we saw unlike or like the 60s and the 70s. And you know what? If you look at the clock and you turn it back, it doesn't look any different than the civil rights movement, where you see black men and black boys are being victimized by brutality. But what we're not talking about and what we're not saying enough of and what we're not showing enough of is the black women who have been victimized, who have been raped, who have been brutalized. And so today I just want to talk about why black women need to say these names. Why do we need to say these names? Why do we need to pay attention to what is going on with black women here in America? Now, there is a resurgent racial justice movement, and black women are experiencing the same brutality that black men and black boys are experiencing. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control Prevention, did a study, and the report suggested that across 18 states, black women were murdered at drastically higher rates than women of other race. Black women are killed at a rate of 4 times or 2 times to 4 times more than any other race. So when you're looking at a population of 100,000 people, black women are killed at 4.4 persons per 100,000 people, as opposed to any other race, such as a white woman or a white man who has killed one person per 100,000 per population. Now, there was another statistics that I saw in the research by the Fatal Interaction with Police research project. And in this research project, the key finding was that nearly 60% of black women were killed by police were unarmed. And when you look at the statistic, 60% of black women were unarmed. Why is that the fact? Now, we know that black women have been marginalized in the job area. We know we've been marginalized in education and housing. We know that there's a pipeline to prison system now that black women we are seeing more of. And so we have to ask the question, why is this the case? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who I am a follower and a student of, said that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. He also said that when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a whole civilization. And so what we're seeing now is we're seeing the attack on the black woman. But if you look in the news media, we see that the black woman is really carrying America. We saw Bree Newsom, who climbed that pole flag and took down the Confederate flag in South Carolina. We saw the sister in New York who was climbing the Statue of Liberty to protest against Trump's administration and Trump's rules of separating these families, our immigrant brothers and sisters, from their children. We see that women in Alabama, 98% of the black women in Alabama voted for the Democratic candidate that took Jeff Sessions' seat in the Senate. We see that black women have been carrying America for so long. Slavery, we've been the wet nurses for the white woman. We've been the concubines and the mistresses for the masters. But no longer can we lay down and allow for our voice to be silent. There was a study that was done, a Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. In this study, they found that women socially are invisible. This means that we are likely to go, one, unnoticed, physically unnoticed, and then we are not heard at all. In this study, it showed the consequences socially of the black woman just being silent. Now, let me say this. What happened to Nia Wilson, what happened to Sister Michonne Cooper this week is a travesty and a tragedy. And we can talk about all the heinous crimes that occurs among black women, but what can we do, black women, to protect ourselves? I know that in the Nation of Islam, where I'm in the Nation of Islam as a MGT and GCC, which stands for Muslim Girl Training and General Civilization class, we are taught how to protect ourselves. We are taught on the realities of what is happening in the world, but we are also taught how to protect ourselves and protect and train our daughters as well. Now, when you come into the mosque, you can't come into the mosque with not much as a penknife. We don't carry, as believers and followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we don't carry as much as a penknife. And so how do we protect ourselves? One, we protect ourselves by being able to defend ourselves against what may. We're never the aggressors. We're taught to never be the aggressors. But we're taught to fight with those who fight with us. We are taught that we have to be able to defend ourselves physically, but we also have to be able to defend ourselves using our mental rationality. Now, brothers, I'm asking you, you see what's going out here and going on with the black woman. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the black man must protect the black woman. Why? Because we are the first nurses, we are the first teachers, we are the mothers of civilization. We are your sisters, we are your mothers, we are your aunts. And it is through the woman that we'll be able to rise above civilization. But this is the thing. We cannot expect somebody to do that for us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, independence is the key and separation is the key. We must do for ourselves. So I'm encouraging sisters, if you're watching this, then I'm encouraging you to defend yourself. Take a self-defense class. I'm not asking you to go get a gun, because I'm not an advocate of violence and I'm not an advocate of carrying a weapon, but I'm advocate of you being able to defend yourself, and if must, use your body as a weapon. And when you have to use your body as a weapon, go with the intentions that you are going to kill whoever's coming after you. Teach and train your daughters. And brothers, I ask you to help and teach and train your sisters as well, because we cannot allow ourselves to be bystanders and watch what happened to Sister Nia Wilson, what happened to Michonne Cooper, what happened to Sandra Bland, what happened to so many thousands of other sisters, that we say her name and allow this travesty to continue to happen. So again, a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and we must protect the black woman, because she's the most disrespected, most neglected woman, and the most murdered woman out here in North America. So again, no nation can rise no higher than its woman, and if you teach a black woman, you teach a whole civilization. So now let's teach her how to defend herself, and let's rise above emotion, but teach her how to defend herself so that we may be able to allow civilization to rise above the state that it's in. Thank you.